Hey, what's up you guys? Aftershow Reacts here, and today I'm going to be reacting to some more the Charmed reboot. This is season 3, episode 14, and it's titled Perfecti is the enemy of good. I knew about this title before, and I mean, it's kind of obvious, to be honest. This show isn't very good with its twists, I'm just saying. Before we get into the episode, I'm going to go into a bit of a discussion about the show as a whole and the way that I feel and my stance on it at the moment. So if you're not interested in that, I'm going to hope that my editor leaves a little marker on the screen somewhere to indicate when the reaction begins. But in saying that, I think season 3 will be the last season that I react to. And if you'd like to know why, we're about to go into it right now. So first of all, last week's, well, not last week, it was a couple weeks ago, the breaks between the episodes have become ridiculous. It's so difficult. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. I dyed my hair like 2 days later, and it's still pink. It's been like 3 weeks since then. That's how long it's been, okay? I'm just saying. Alright. So, I don't think I'm going to be reacting to any more of this, like, series after this season. I've committed to the rest of this season, for sure. You know, unless there's some huge change, and the show just miraculously gets better by the end of the season, I'm probably going to be dropping the show. It's just not a good show. It's really not. I feel sorry for, you know, the actresses involved, the actors, like, everyone. It's just really not a good show. And if you enjoy the show, that's completely fine. You know, you're welcome to enjoy a show. But I don't think it's good, and I can't handle it anymore. It's no secret that I watched the original show growing up, and I'm always gonna have that bias towards it. There's no secret there. But in saying that, I started this show because I was curious about it. I had watched the trailer for it. I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest. The trailer looked like a bunch of woke bullshit, to be honest. And where I think that the show toned down a lot of the woke garbage, it still has some of it in there. I feel like season 1 has been the best season so far, and that's purely based off the fact that season 2 and 3 are just absolute messes. There's no comedy for me. There's no, like, funny moments. There's no endearing moments. I can probably count the amount of sisterly bonding moments on my hand, probably. Which is really strange, because when you think of, like, Supergirl, for example, it has its own set of problems, of course, but the Danvers sisters, like, that's, like, a core of the show, and, like, they always have, like, moments where they get to spend time together, and, you know, you actually feel like they're sisters. With these 3 actresses, they barely actually interact very much, and just hang out, and it's not good. The original Charmed, and I really shouldn't be comparing them at this point because they're so different of shows, but at least with the original Charmed, they had moments where they, you know, would just hang out, lay down on the bed together, just talk about random garbage, you know? They don't have that. So the last episode broke me mentally, and I'm not alone, because it broke a lot of people's spirits. For example, if you guys watch, Charmed Hard with a Vengeance, they stopped doing podcasts to it as well after the last episode, because it was just an absolute train wreck. And honestly, it's not fun. It's not fun to watch. And I completely agree with that. I feel like Charmed is just taking up a spot that a good show could be taking. A show that I'm actually interested in reacting to. I don't know. So anyways, I'm gonna go into some of the comments and stuff that I've gotten. So I made a post. Well, we'll go through the comments of the actual episode itself. And then I also made a post asking people their opinions on Charmed right now and the way that they feel about it. So we're going to go through all of that. It's going to be quite a long discussion, I feel. So yeah. I asked in the last episode how people feel about the show. I'm just going to read out some of the comments and paraphrase them because I suck at reading. I'm going to be honest, I think season 1 was good. It definitely wasn't perfect, but if they kept the original showrunner, they could have took feedback and made future seasons better. That's true. They did swap showrunners at the beginning of season 2, and it really shows. At least the original showrunner was having fun with it. I mean, yeah, they were ripping a lot of the original storylines from the show, but, like, they were having fun with it. It's not this dark and gloomy show that it is now. They wanted to take season 2 and onward in a more supernatural direction and less family dynamics, which is a mistake. The whole point is, they're sisters and they're witches. I thoroughly enjoyed season 1 and thought they could expand from there and get better. Season 2 and 3 had a couple good episodes, but I'm very disappointed in those seasons. I just wish they could erase the last 2 seasons, bring back the original showrunner, and continue the story from the end of season 1. Sadly, that would never happen. That was just one commenter. And then we have some comments on YouTube. This is an example for me. I posted that onto Patreon like weeks ago, and it only has one comment. Nobody's that interested in the show. I mean, it's witches. And it's female witches, Where's the interest? Where are all the people that are interested in the show? They're not there. Because it's a bad show. Alright. A lot of the comments I have gotten are I never watched the show because I like the original, or I watched a couple episodes and I couldn't stand it. So that's a lot of what I got back from a lot of this stuff, but it's interesting to see, everyone's perspective. I never really watched the show, and I didn't really want to, mostly because I'm not a fan of reboots, and I heard that it wasn't great, and I realized I made the right call, but then I came across someone who, like you, is just hate watching the show, and this episode made them rage quit, so I needed to know why. And then they time-stamped where Macy found out that Abigail took her powers. I don't know. Thanks for letting me know. I gave up on this show a few episodes ago, okay? Some of these comments are quite long, just FYI. It's such a shame how bad it got. Even the actors feel like they've given up, considering Jordan is leaving and Rupert Evans, who is Harry, seems to be doing another project on the side. Even Ruby's actress is on another show. Abigail might as well be the MC main character. because she's made our main characters have little effect on what's going on, and to be honest, is one of the worst written characters on the show I've seen. I agree. Even the flaws of the OG Charmed, even for the flaws OG Charmed had in the beginning and to the end story. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at reading. Even for the flaws of OG Charmed, it had beginning to end story arcs. Yes. It's just any notable flaws that surround said arcs or later years, the characters. Okay, sorry. Again, really bad at reading. Nothing, you did good. Even when they split story arcs in season 7, they actively finished both of them. Plus, the characters didn't just defeat the big bads in 40 seconds. I agree. I feel like every single episode of this show, they've had like a bad guy that they've just defeated. Like, nothing seems to be a challenge, and that's really frustrating to me because like, how is there even character development? How is there even a challenge? Like, if there's no challenge, then there's no excitement. Like, I want to see someone get their, like, I want to see the main character get their ass absolutely handed to them. Once, maybe twice, by a villain. And then by the end of the season, give it back to them. Because that is satisfying shit. They overcome, the power and everything. They kick their ass. It's great. Like, that is good storytelling. Not just, no, big bad, kill you in 40 seconds. Like, I feel no one wants an overpowered character. I'm sorry, it's just, I don't get it. Like, the struggles are what make a character and an arc feel complete. Like, remember Sanku? Even the OG Cole, even when the OG Cole went from good to bad, it was better character-wise than Abigail because Cole actually did good. He even got an episode where a woman whose husband he had murdered in the past comes to get revenge, and he felt remorse for killing her husband. I agree. The problem with Abigail is she doesn't feel remorse. She never feels remorseful. She never apologized, ever. The biggest problem with the last episode, I feel, was the fact that when she saw herself killing people, she smirked. How am I supposed to feel bad for a character if she fucking smirks at her killing us? Oh my god. Plus, the OG would pop out some good episodes. Name a single episode of this reboot that is good. I can't think of one personally. Like, name an episode of this show that you would rewatch on a regular basis. I can name one from the original Charmed. I really like Sin City. No, San Francisco, that's what it's called. It's in season 3, and it's where they get all the sins. I like that episode. I've seen it a lot of times. Maybe that episode in season 1 where they fought Charity. Have you seen Charmed Hard with a Vengeance? They do a great job at explaining their issues with the reboot. Yeah, I have been following them. But again, they've given up too. Also, Leo was a better white lighter than Harry because Leo would actually heal the girls and other people and give them advice. And even when they did the witch and white lighter romance, it wasn't so mopey. I agree. Harry right now is the most boring character I think I might have ever seen. Like, he's becoming like Matt levels of boring. And if you understand that reference, the problem with Harry is that he just never uses his abilities. He's the last ever white lighter, and he's about to give it up to be immortal. And like, okay, fair enough. You know, Leo did the same thing. But, the first time that he became mortal wasn't his choice. The second time that he became mortal, it was his choice, but it was like season 7. He'd done all the good. He deserved to have a moment, okay? He deserved to leave. Right? But Harry's just not done anything to deserve this, to be honest. Sorry, I've got a bit of hay fever at the moment, so my nose is a little bit blocked. And I'm struggling to breathe a little bit because of it. Yeah, I feel like they delve so much into the Harry and Macy romance that they've kind of overshadowed a lot of the stuff, and in results, they've made that relationship really boring. That's just my opinion. Like, we'll get to it. Even if I had issues with it, despite Piper being my favorite Charmed one, and still is, I agree, she's my favorite too. She can be very difficult to like after season 4, but on top of everything, we knew who the Hallowells were. Episodes about their ancestry, their family, even themselves. Name any of that for the Vera sisters. There's nothing specifically, like, we haven't really learnt about their lineage very much, no. Even the Hallowell Manor got its own lore. And it was the most reused set on the show. Even as early as season 1, we knew where it was built over a nexus, which was used by many family members and acted as a power base for demons actively sought after. Compared to this safe space, yes, I don't know what the fuck why? A safe space is like the most stupid. Ugh. Sorry. So that was the end of that that specific comment. And I really liked it a lot, so I wanted to talk about it. Just a moment. Sorry about that. Alright, let's see. What else do we have? I'm confused about Abigail's firepower too. I can understand that she had firepower as a child, but since she still had her demon half, so burning her sister in school could have happened. Then her mother split her demon half and locked it in a bottle, right? Then Abigail got her firepower again and stole it from Macy, but somehow could become the demon overlord without her demon half. Now she's reunited with her demon half, which is trying to kill her. Did she use her fire powers before stealing it from Macy? No. She got them from Macy. I don't understand. I'm trying to watch all these CW shows, but they keep going on break. And I agree, it is becoming really hard to remember all the plot points. Yeah. My problem with Charmed is that I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the wasted potential that they have for very good heartfelt moments. Then just ruin it like when Maggie was using her power on herself. And Mel was telling her that she didn't have to do it alone, and they said something like, because they're women, they feel like they need to do everything ourselves. They didn't have to do that. And it really pissed me off. That is something everyone can relate to, not just something that everyone can relate to. Asking for help is something I struggle with a lot. A lot of them is trying to come off woke and comes off as corny and just not right. The one good moment is when Maggie finds out that she's half black and can sign up for black scholarships and questions if she should even do it. If she should do it because she's raised and I think Latina. Anyways, it's a struggle and it was a beautiful moment. Another problem I have with Charmed is the writers seem to not watch their own show. How the hell does Abigail have fire powers as a baby? See, this is the problem, okay? If majority of your, like, fan base doesn't understand your own lore because you're not understanding your own lore, like, you're doing something wrong. Like, it's not just me pointing this out. It's not just another person pointing it out. This is literally another, like, pretty much everyone is like, where did the fire powers that she didn't have before? You've made a mistake and you're not doing it. Like, you're not fixing it. She just stole them from Macy like a year ago. And how the hell did nobody know Abigail stole Macy's power when she was using it for a season and a half? I'm so confused. Another problem is getting rid of recurring characters such as Jordan, Abby. I don't know what you're talking about. They're not getting rid of Abby. They'll never get rid of Abby. Julian, Galvin, Mama Raz, Kat, Swan, Kevin, the trans student in Mel's class. Sorry, I almost forgot about his name. Yeah, that's because he wasn't a character. He was literally just, I'm trans. Like, give him some character. Like, he was just there to be a trans character. And I'm not saying that trans characters can't be on TV because it's important that they are, but give them more to do than just being trans. Because they're people too. That's not their sole identity. Sorry, that really annoys the crap out of me. We barely see Antonia, Josefina. We lose all these people. Another reason I honestly don't like Harry is his storyline is a bit boring. Yes, I agree. And comes off at the expense of the sisters. He also has no use because he can't heal them and he can't orb. Even when they're not able to touch, he still doesn't heal them. Anyways, yeah. Sorry, I'm really bad at reading, and I'm reading these really, really long comments out, and I'm struggling. There's, like, so many comments. Here's one that I really, really wanted to read. This is a really long one. I'm already 20 minutes in, but hey, why stop now? My issues with this show. The Charmed ones since season 2 have become passive protagonists. They do nothing to forward the story. I agree. It's not like they're going out and then they're saving innocents. Do you remember at the beginning of season 2, I think it was, they like went out and saved someone or they died or something like that. And they wrote it on the board and they're like, we're going to write down all the people that we've lost or all the people that we've saved or whatever. Never spoken of again. Abigail has pretty much stolen the show and has become the favourite. You can clearly tell how the showrunners write that they have a clear bias for the character. She now has all the storylines. Stole Macy's struggle with the demon side storyline, which is really rude because, like, a white girl stole a person of colour's storyline. A main character. And it's not the actress's fault, FYI. Is pretty much an invincible encyclopedia when it comes to demons, magic, and ancient magic. Whereas in the OG, while Cole served as the source and a demon knowledge, he didn't come off as he was the key to every single bit of knowledge. She also went from an overly smug to a wah, my demon side is trying to kill me, to now, I'm bad because of my mummy issues. Like, the writers changed Abigail's character in such a manipulative way to avoid the criticisms of her character, so we'll feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for her. And I don't know why anyone would feel bad for her. She's done nothing to deserve that. They can't even defend her right in this episode. I hate Abigail, one of the worst written characters in any show. I agree. Also, I just want to point out something. Something that somebody pointed out to me. So this prison is the Tomb of Chaos, and they have to prove that Abigail isn't chaotic. I'm just saying, she's not. Have you ever Googled the definition of chaos? It's unpredictability. Abigail is not this. She is evil and selfish, maybe even irredeemable, but she has always had a plan and a purpose for her actions. She knows what she wants and how to get it and what she would do to get it. Good versus evil is not order versus chaos. Just saying. Google what chaos means, writers, please. Because you don't know what it means. My nose is so itchy. I have so much hay fever right now. This is so frustrating. I just want to, go through all of this and watch the episode. And my nose is itchy. I'm scratching off all my makeup on my nose. It's great. No sisterly connections outside of a few moments. For all the flaws of the OG had, the Hallowells all did feel like sisters. That's even including Paige. The Charmed ones have become self-centered people. Major issue with the later seasons of Charmed, especially Phoebe. Maggie in particular has become very similar to Phoebe, especially since she keeps getting soap opera versions of sleeping with a guy. The romances seem to be more important than the magic. Which is bad when the romances aren't even good. I agree. Just give me a moment again. Sorry. While good in concept, the fact that the demons don't go after or attack the witches or the Charmed ones is a problem, because Abigail is in control and the witches never have to be attacked. It's just an excuse for the Charmed ones so they have nothing to do. Even though it was easy, at least the Hallowells would vanquish or fight a few demons. They even did potions and spells. We just don't see that. We really don't. My nose is so itchy. Can you see it's getting red? I can't help it. You're gonna be like, stop scratching it! You're probably watching this and being like, stop it! Stop scratching it! Stop it! I can't help it. Harry sucks at being a white liar. Considering he's the last one, you'd think that they'd do something interesting. But it just makes me wish white lighters weren't a part of the show. He's always kidnapped or never uses his powers, or he went from fuddy-duddy to an interesting person to I just want to be with Macy, to where every plot centers around him and Macy. Exactly. He's literally just they've literally turned into one character. It's not, who is Harry? You also didn't point out how selfish he got. Like the previous episode, he was willing to steal his family's soul to be mortal. Yeah. See, the thing is, when they said that in the show, I immediately thought to myself, there's no way that I heard that correctly. So I just kind of didn't understand what was going on, what he was going to do, because my brain was like, there's no way that they just wrote that. I must have just misheard it. And so instead I chose to not understand what was going on. So that's why I didn't mention how selfish he got, because I thought that I had heard things. How the Charmed ones are so ineffective at everything. They never see the obvious or just forget how Macy was surprised that Abby took her powers. Personal game, did she just think that Abby was going to sell them at the zoo? Or ignoring how obvious and perfectly evil, the Perfecti. I mean, it's obvious, and they're just like, nah, we'll just let them clean up the problems. They barely even save people in this show, which is supposed to be the main premise. Exactly. Stop itching my nose! Stop it. I hate it. Okay. The inconsistencies are just overly abundant and really bad. I get not remembering every detail, but to forget pivotal plot points like Jordan's curse, or Abby not having flame powers, or, Jordan's girlfriend. Safe Space, they just reuse the same set for everything they do, and it kills the show from a world building standpoint. I agree. It's like they never leave this place. Even Hallowell Manor had more lore behind its existence, despite it being the main filming set in every episode. The show has become so samey, it literally feels like the same episode each week. The lack of magic or interesting fights have really started to harm the engagement of the show, if the rest already didn't. I think I might be forgetting something else, but those of mine for now. I would also like to list an inconsistency. The writers seem to forget Abigail was part witch, as when she went to Jordan to strip her demon power, she said, I would be reduced to a mere human existence. What about your witch side? That's true. Ugh, I hate this show. Yeah, it is very frustrating. They also had a couple other things to mention as well, which I'll probably read those as well. I do want to add something else if you don't mind. For the record, I'm a fan of the original OG show as well. Even despite its faults, however, it was namely the first 4 seasons I have fondness for. When it comes to the reboot, I feel like despite how bad season 1 was and how it would rip off episodes of the OG, it had more potential than the whole show has ended up now. For instance, the tone was a lot better. I agree. It had some entertaining moments, and at least when it came to Macy and Harry, there was a clear plot to follow with them. I even admired the fact that Macy's demon side was a plot they kept for literally a whole season. I believe it was the only plot they had outside of Parker struggling with his demon side. Also, I would like to point out, season 1 just had better casts. Like some of the magical folks that they'd make, the Necromancer, I forgot about the Necromancer. When you say Necromancer, I think of legacies now. They all had jobs and lives. Again, huge potential for world building. They didn't have any of this in season 2 and 3. And even plot points that they set up have been forgotten. We also need to mention how this show forgot Macy was once a scientist, and she doesn't do that anymore. The show likes to pretend that it acknowledges that a lot of the time, but she's now in charge of Safe Space. I don't know, man. For me, the most insulting plot they wrote off was Mel's old girlfriend before Ruby, which was Kat, the woman who ran the magic shop and sold it off to Mel back when they didn't have their powers. They had this whole plot for her being a medium, which was a rare instance of a genuinely good plot. I wasn't a fan of her, to be honest, but I do like what they were doing with the twist of like, oh my god, you're not crazy, you're just a medium. But then the same episode, they reveal that she's a medium, they get rid of her. And even so, they barely do anything with Ruby. Yet at the same time, they want to make Ruby and Abigail a thing. Why does Abigail get paired with everyone? I assume you know the Charmed With Vengeance podcast. Yes, we've talked about this. There's also Jordan's old girlfriend, who they wrote off with no mention from Jordan nor Maggie that they broke off or split apart. Nothing. She just had that scene where she got slightly miffed at Jordan and walked away. So that equates to a breakup. I also can't feel sorry for Maggie when she spent the entire season friend-zoning Jordan and only now wants to tell him. And she spent the season having a whole love-hate relationship with Antonio to the point of it being a soap opera. Then he gets this show's mini oh never mind. According to Swan, didn't even know he was gone for days, or how about Maggie spending the season saying "Year of Me," which is a problem Phoebe in the original Charmed had, where she became wrapped up in dates and, more importantly, herself. Wow, this is getting harder and harder to read because I don't know what's wrong with me. I just really struggled to concentrate on reading, but I wanted to do this, and my nose is still itchy. Even when it came to the Hallowells as people, you clearly knew who they were. Prue was an art historian and later photographer. Piper was a chef who later ran a nightclub, and Phoebe later became an advice columnist. Even Paige was a wildlighter herself and had a whole episode dedicated to her past. Right. Lots of things that we just unpacked there. A lot of people's comments are literally just, I'm not watching it. I tried multiple times, but I can't get into it. It's been pretty terrible in my opinion. I just leave it on in the background when I work. That was literally just 4 comments or 3, I don't know how many I just read, but 3 different people or whatever, one after the other. I can't bring myself to watch it at all. I've never watched it, but if you're thinking about giving up, after suffering through Arrow season 4 and 6, it must really be bad. The thing that annoys me is this allergy. They could have thought of a better name. With an allergy, you can still come into contact with it. Yeah, coming from, Macy's literally a scientist, and the best term she could come up with, allergy. I watch the show and I enjoy it. It has improved since season 1, but I recognize the fact that it has issues. It definitely isn't great, but I've come to terms with it and that it is never going to be, and for some reason I like watching it, and that's okay. Maybe it is because I have no expectations, or I never really compared it to the OG. From the beginning, never really had true leadership behind it, because Jenny Snyder-Urman was going to be the showrunner. And I was really looking forward to her vision because she did great on Jane the Virgin. Okay. And the Latino representation, but for some reason she walked away from the project when it was still in development, and the producers brought on the former showrunner of Faking It. Oh, great. Who did not have a good record and clearly not right for the project. And now the new showrunners are an improvement, but I disagree. But the constant harassment from the OG fans made them want to stay away from what the OG did, and I think it hurt the show because the sisters are rarely together or use the power of 3. I don't think the writers have done a good job showing why Charmed ones are the most powerful witches. I agree. Look, here's someone that really enjoys the show but can still see the flaws in it. I was obsessed with the original until season 4, and I think it lost its charm. Every season I found more difficult to watch. Then I gave up and never finished the show. For me, the reboot will never be as great as the first 4 seasons of the original, but it is better than the OG Charmed did after those 4 seasons. I don't know. If you don't want to keep reacting to the show, I completely understand. If you are not enjoying, there is no point in continuing something that gives you no joy. There's a lot more comments. I think I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to start the episode. We're 40 minutes in. Wow. Usually, I'll be finishing the episode by now. But yeah, if you guys want to take a look at these comments, you know, have a bit of a read. They're on my channel. If you click on the community tab, there is a post saying, anyone here watching the Charmed reboot, and that's a picture of them. Lots of different comments. Yeah. So with that being said, I think I'm going to be dropping the show by the end of the season. There's probably 90% chance, on the, like, off chance that it just miraculously gets better, or it just, like, completely changes. Maybe I'll do season 4. Like, that's a very, very, very low chance, because I don't see it happening. And I don't know, like, depending on, you know, where the show goes eventually, maybe I'll come back and I'll react to it when it's done. Like, maybe I'll continue the show from season 4 onwards to wherever it ends up being. But for now, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get the end of season 3. Yeah. I guess we should get into the episode. Yeah. Let's get into it. Well, that was Charmed, season 3, episode 14. I liked exactly one thing from the episode, and that was the ending. See that writing at the end? That's interesting. Everything else is fucking... Ugh. Like, there's no... I don't feel satisfied ever when they beat something, because it's just like... The Perfecti were literally a problem for like one episode. Do you know how to make a big bad? I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. There was just something really gross about the fact that for the whole, pretty much the whole episode, like, the actress of Abigail was a charmed one this episode. She essentially replaced a person of color. Like, we've been mentioning that, like, she's taking away, like, their storylines. Remember this episode, she actually was one of them. I don't know, there's something just not right about that. You guys can let me know what you guys thought. I apologize if this video is, like, really, really long. Which it is. But we had a lot to talk about. Let me know what you guys thought. And I promise next episode won't be this long. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.